T-Mobile. T-Mobile. When it rains, look, it's spring. It's May 3rd. Happy birthday to my cousin, by the way. She's so cute. She's 33, I think, 34. But when it rains or if it snows, I got this internet a couple of months ago. It goes out on me. So if I get frozen and booted, I'm going to have to come in on my phone. But we're going to make sure that that doesn't happen. Got to get the knife handy. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Tonight, we are going to have, so if you didn't notice a while ago on Brittany's channel, her other channel, Mysteriously Brittany, we had Sarah on, and her channel is pinned in the comments and also in the description. She does astrology on her channel, and I always pay attention to astrology because I'm a crazy Gemini. But when you meet people and you say, like, ask them, what's your sign? What are you? Who are you? And if you study people, that's what I've done, and it's crazy how similar things are. So we're going to be talking about that with the Watts case, and she's going to be going over their astrological signs, and she's done some crazy technical stuff with, it's stuff that I don't really get. So she's going to come on here and explain it. It's going to be really fun. So children, not real children. I got to stop saying that. Gather around. No chance. No dance. That's so cool! That scared me. I heard that. That's so cool! In the back of my... Hey, Wendy Lynn. Hey, S. Hockett. Helen Vera. Hey, Don Adams. Sandy. Let me go up here. Amber Jean. Hello. Nikki Six. How you doing? Alex Erickson. Oh, my God. Wait a minute. Weren't you... If you wanted to, you could still come on. I didn't know if you're going to come on. I know that we were going to have A for Advocate on, but prayers for her, because I don't want to say, but she was going through something difficult. But hey, Natasha. Oh, here is our lovely, wonderful. Hello. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Can you hear me?
Oh, no. Yeah, I can hear you. Thank you. So I'll let you introduce yourself. If people didn't see on Brittany's panel what was going on, I'll let you introduce yourself and kind of what you do on your channel.
Okay. So I'm Sarah. I'm with Alchemy by Stars. I have been a massage therapist for a while, and I have always followed astrology my entire life. So I kind of started during COVID to really get a little bit more into it. Am I allowed to say that word? To get a little more into it and to really look at more like it from like an archetypal perspective. And so I really wasn't into YouTube. Like, I just didn't come here. I didn't even think like this was a thing. So, when this event happened, I wasn't really paying attention at the beginning. But as time went on, I realized what YouTube was, and I started getting into the true crime community. And then I don't know. I've come to this point now where I'm like starting to look at how you really can look for dead people. You can look for missing people. You can look for things in the event chart that tell you like, and when after we go through everybody's astrology stuff, I'll go through the event chart and show you like, it's kind of crazy for this event, like how, yeah, so.
Yeah, well, and it's interesting because with Mexi, we look at the paranormal side, and he's very interested in that. So if you're into astrology and if you pay attention to it, it's crazy how people are similar. Or with you dive deeper into it because you look into like the rising signs and all that kind of stuff, which is way beyond my knowledge. That's why I'm like interested to see what you pulled up on it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to like to do all this kind of stuff. So anyway, but yeah, just looking at the cycles. My thing is like really looking at the cycles of like of life, and then how that corresponds to you. I always tell people, if you really want to start doing astrology, to really start by looking at the moon. And like, if you go to my website, if you can scroll down, there's like a little, I don't know, what are those things, tchotchke things? I don't know what they're called. That tells you like what the moon sign and where it's at and what phase it's in. So once you start following that and seeing how that's affecting you on a personal level, because that is the quickest moving celestial body. Oh gosh, is that me?
I think it was you. I don't know.
I don't know.
I was like going like this over my microphone.
So sorry, everybody. So I always say just to go ahead and start following the moon and seeing how that's affecting you. But then back to like just looking at those cycles in life and looking at how every astrological, my whole astrology philosophy too is that every astrological sign has a polarity of a positive and a negative. And we really need to get out of that mindset of everything is like things that are negative are not actually negative. They're there for our growth. And so really taking both of those sides of that and coming together and forming like a more complete whole because you're taking both of those sides and bringing them together to make that more complete whole. So that's like my whole thing with astrology. So as I go through this, I hopefully will show you that.
Can I ask you?
Yeah.
What Kate Lilly just said, was that a myth? Do you remember years ago when they said there's a new sign coming in? It was like 2012 or something. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Ophiuchus is a sign, and it was supposed to be between Sagittarius and Scorpio, or Sagittarius and Capricorn. I don't remember. But anyways, yeah, it was supposed to be like the 13th sign, and technically because the moon goes through 13 cycles in a year, yeah, there is another sign out there. There's a whole other constellation out there that everyone kind of misses. If you go on YouTube and you type in Ophiuchus, like you'll see there are people out there that do readings with Ophiuchus in mind, but it's kind of forgotten.
Okay. Oh, thank you, Robin. Yeah.
Sign, so. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna post. Yeah, I'm going to post your channel link again, and it's pinned in the chat, but I also put like your website and your Instagram if people want to follow you over there in the description. So, okay, so let's get into, alrighty.
So let's hold on, sorry. Let's go, we can quickly go over like Shanann, and then we'll look at Chris, and then we can look at NK. We can look at like the relationship dynamics. I also printed out NK's 2018 solar return and her 2021 solar return, so we could look at where she was in 2018 and now where she might be going this year. And then we can look at the event chart. So yeah.
Ooh, okay.
So anyways, let me these are all my relationships. So sorry, I have folders. So anyway, can we screen share in here?
Yeah, you could screen share. Are you on your laptop? If you hit share, do that and then share whatever you need to, and then you'll be backstage and I'll put you up here.
Okay, all right, I clicked share.
Okay. And then whatever screen you're on, it should go to like,
Can you guys see that chart?
It's not backstage yet.
How do I, here, let me come back here. Oh, share screen, there you go. Okay.
There you go.
Sorry, y'all. Share. Okay, let me bring this up. Okay. Okay, so this
with Pete. Hang on, really fast.
Yeah.
I don't see anything on the screen yet.
You don't see anything?
No, it should, because when you put it up, it'll go backstage for me, and then I'll accept it on my end.
Oh, okay.
Oh, dude, there you are.
I don't know how to use technology. I am so.
And hold on, because it looks like see, it's sharing us.
Oh.
See that? Hold on.
Here, let me go.
There.
Is that bad?
Oh, there it is.
Is that good?
Yeah, just make sure everything on the screen is what you want us to see.
Got it. I think that's good.
Yep.
Okay. So I can't see myself, but anyways. So this is Shanann's chart. She was born January 10th, 1984. That makes her Cap. Okay. By the way, when we were on our other panel, I want to say that the only person's birth time that's actually been verified is Chris's. So when I went through this time, I didn't include rising sign or necessarily houses because we don't know their birth time. And because we don't know their birth time, it's almost impossible to do that. So anyways, So I have her. She's, like I said, is Capricorn rising, an Aries moon, and a Capricorn sun. More or less, everything that you hear about her, she was ambitious, she was clear-minded, she had a very strong sense of, responsibility, caretaking. Being a mother and having a family was very important to her. It's one of the things that came up in her chart. She has Saturn and Scorpio in the 10th house. So that's right up here at 14 degrees and 41 minutes. 14 degrees and 41 minutes. So having that there, she may have experienced, because Saturn sometimes represents the dad, the father. So she may have encountered some problems in her early life, maybe even with that being in the 10th house in her early 20s that had to do with her father. So yeah, so and she kind of maybe whatever happened in her early years, she kind of operated out of a subconscious fear in regards to that. And that gave her that if she didn't conquer the world first, it will conquer you instead kind of mentality. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that, when we're born and we have our parents, I believe that we pick everything out before we kind of come here. And so, I believe
I do too,
yeah. I mean,
like a blueprint.
Totally. Yeah. And that's where you get your chart and how you have to learn your lessons and everything. And so I believe you pick your parents and the lessons that you have to learn before you get here. And so it's nothing to judge or look badly upon at all. We all have our shit and our shadows. So, but anyways, what else? That could have also given her that kind of like a power complex as well. Let's see. That's her sun was in the first house. So that is down here. Making her, like Capricorn being that cardinal earth sign, it rules the bones, it rules the skin, and it rules the knees. I don't remember with her neck if there was something wrong with the bones exactly, and that's why she had to have that surgery. But
can I ask you a question about that? Yeah. Just a quick question. And look, again, I study people's physical traits and the traits. Every Capricorn I know has beautiful, like, flawless skin. Molly Golightly's a Capricorn. Mexi's a Capricorn. And Shanann looked like she had pretty skin too. Is that that what that means?
Yeah, totally. It rules the bones, the skins, and the knees. So,
wow.
Yeah, I think that's kind of cool too. Anyways, but that also gave her that ambitious, practical nature she had. Also being like, it could be having some deep feeling. Some Capricorns with that sun in the first house can have those feelings of insecurity, which I feel like that's kind of where her maybe her early wounding came in, is maybe feeling insecure in some kind of way. Yeah. She has her moon in the third house. That made her a little bit impatient, a lot of independence there, and she could be very impulsive. But she was very competitive. And again, that puts that attack first kind of attitude. And they do that again as a way to conceal feelings of like insecurity. But Pluto and Scorpio. She has Pluto and Scorpio, and it's at 1 degree. All three players here have Pluto and Scorpio. So this is going to be the same for all three of them. So probably won't go over it once because there's a lot. But anyways, it gives them strong desires. They're very single-minded about pursuing them. They have to kind of, and there's probably a few people out here that have this Pluto and Scorpio if you were born around this time, because like I said, it's a generational thing. Maybe exhibiting some types of compulsive behavior, maybe around sexuality, but that Pluto and Scorpio is, there's a tendency to project what you have, like your shadows and your issues, onto other people. And instead of maybe looking at that and trying to change that and confront that, you instead kind of manipulate situations. And in Chris and NK's case, that can turn into like battlefield sexual encounters. So, right. They also have Uranus and Sagittarius. That's just kind of giving like a different, more spiritual outlook on life. Also, they had Jupiter. Shanann has Jupiter and Sagittarius. That gives her that optimistic nature. What else? I don't want to. There's so much about her, but more or less, what it all boils down to is that she was that friendly, affectionate personality. She was very diplomatic. And while there's like these, I feel like she was at a point in her life where she was really starting to come to terms with some things. It's like once you get married and you have kids, you have to kind of like let your old ways die, I guess is what I want to say, so that you can be a better example for your kids. And I feel like that's kind of what she was on the precipice of when she was like, unfortunately, taken away from everyone. Let me just go through this really quickly. Yeah.
Okay. And they were asking too, you're going to go through the compatibility of them, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because I wanted to see that compared to the one with NK to see which one was more compatible. Because in my personal opinion, because NK is a Cancer, right?
Yeah.
In my personal opinion, since Chris is a Taurus, I think Cancer, like, I think maybe that's why they kind of were more attracted, because Cancer is more laid back than a Capricorn. Capricorns are a little bit more, yeah.
I agree. And like, it totally says that. So, all right, guys, I'm going to click out of this one or minimize it. Let me get CWs up here. There we go. See that one? Okay. He was born May 17th, 1985. In our last live we did, we had him in for 7:15 a.m. And it looks to me, this is, like I said, the only one we have the time for. And we have it through Astro Dentist. You can Google that one. And that's kind of like an encyclopedia for astrologers if you're looking into like celebrity charts or whatever. So he was actually, so more or less, Robbie, this is kind of cool. What it does is, because it's like exactly almost 12 hours later than we had on the last slide, it just kind of flips the chart and it makes it a mirror image, which given the situation is, and as an astrologer, that's super fascinating seeing how like the mirror image and first house, seventh house, and how that all works. So,
okay.
So I'm going to try to do a quick summary of this guy because he's just, I don't know. Again, you can never say that someone's like a murderer or something like that by looking at their chart necessarily, but you can see like tendencies and cycles of things that might point to that. But anyway, so let's talk about his, what is that? His seventh house down here. In his seventh house, he has Chiron, the wounded healer. He has, oh, sorry guys, where did I put that? Where did he go? Hang on, let me go back. Open.
Hey, everybody coming in. If you're just tuning in, this is Alchemy by Stars. That's her channel. And I pinned her channel again.
Thank you. So he has this little glyph here. That's Charlie Go. This is actually Chiron's soulmate. So that makes it. Let me talk about the planets, and I'll talk about the house it's in. The sun is more or less your identity, the way that you look at yourself. And then this little glyph here, I'll show you down here. So this is the north node. His north node is in Taurus. And so you have the south node, which is right here in the first house. And then this north node is in the seventh house. South node is where you come in with your past lives and the things that you know from your past. North node is where you need to project to go in this life. And that being all in the seventh house of relationships, business partnerships, open enemies, that kind of stuff. So the other thing that Chris has is that there's a fixed star named Algol that is more or less affiliated with serial killers, crazy dictators, people of that nature, and it is actually conjunct his sun. So gives his sun, obviously, that being his identity, in the seventh house of marriage, business partnerships, open enemies. To me, that is very like auspicious. But anyways, let's see. What else can I say about that?
Is Charles Manson under that one?
I didn't look. I should look into that because, yeah. The other thing about where his sun and that star are is it's at an anaretic degree, or which is also like a karmic degree. So more or less, he always had the potential for his marriage to not end well. He probably should not have gotten married, because he wasn't really willing to, as you can see, he wasn't willing to face his own demons. And because of that, he never integrated that energy because like I said, every celestial body has a positive and a negative. And while yes, Algol can be related with that stuff, it can also be related with death and rebirth, because of the way it goes through eclipse cycles and whatnot. So it's also a thing for death and rebirth. But anyways, what else can I say? Let's go ahead and look at his, like I said, we'll look at the North Node real quick because that has a little bit of significance as well. Like I said, that's where you're needing to go in life and what you need to step into and be. So people who come into this life with that, they kind of attract crisis situations to themselves. They're very impatient, right? They have an inappropriate amount of intensity sometimes. They tend to destroy things in order to eliminate one part. They can be obsessive, compulsive in nature. I'll show you the book I got. This is from my Astrology for the Soul by Jan Spiller. It goes through all of like the North Node and South Node stuff. It's a really good book. But more or less, they want a total commitment from another. And in order to do that, they need to be strong within themselves first. And like I said, he wasn't willing to face that or integrate that in himself. So he needed to develop his own worth and his own values because that's what Taurus is all about. And really not be in a codependent situation and be independent of another person. So, right. Let me see here. The 10th house. 10th house is career, public recognition, how the public perceives you in his case.
Ain't that the truth?
Right. So he has that, the asteroid Nessus, which is known as the abuser up here. And this is his MC. So the MC is more or less your outward expression of your energies. It can be referred to as like your ego identity. And I believe that, yes, it's square all this stuff. I wanted to just point at my screen. This is square to all of this stuff over here, which is not a good energy. It provides conflict unless you learn how to, like I said, integrate that stuff, which he didn't do. So, yeah. So up here in his 10th house of eventually what is he known for in the public is, not being such a nice person and maybe even, like I said, possibly on that borderline of abusive. But yeah. I'm going to go ahead and skip over. We're going to go to, let's see, his 11th house is empty. And I also want to point out that this axis, a lot of times children can be denoted in either the 4th house or the 5th house. And as you can see, they're empty.
Oh.
Right.
That's so weird.
Is that not crazy? And when we get to the event chart, he is represented by Jupiter, and the only thing that's down in this whole entire half is himself. Jupiter.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. Anyways, so let's go up to the 12th house. The 12th house is known as the house of self-undoing, imprisonment. So Pluto is in there. And Pluto in the 12th house. The 12th house is also like unconscious things, things that are beyond the physical. It's a house of karma. So can also have to do with self-sacrifice. The other little glyph that's here, that's your point of fortune. Your point of fortune is brought together by like combining your sun, your moon, and your ascendant in a different angle. So it's like pretty much all of you and how you may receive luck in life. And I find it really ridiculous that it is right there in his 12th house, kind of right next to Pluto there, which is like death, rebirth, the house of karma, the house of self-undoing, this house of self-imprisonment, and that's where he ended up finding his fortune at. So
wow.
Really interesting. Let's see. And with Pluto in that 12th house, what you need to learn, if you have that, is you really need to learn to let go of the physical, because it's all about the unconscious. You have to learn to kind of flow with being in that state of kind of not holding on to anything. I guess that's like a Buddhist philosophy. If they attach themselves to things, it creates disillusionment. Yeah. So that's what I have to say about Pluto in the 12th house there next to his point of fortune.
Lots of people are saying that it makes a lot of sense.
Right? I hope
it does make a lot of sense.
Also, if you Pluto's retrograde here, so that turns that energy more inward to him and being more on a personal level. So very interesting. He has, this is your second house. This is your house of like self-worth, but it also has to do with like material stuff and whatnot. So he has Uranus and he has Neptune here. And to me, that just screams bankruptcy. It screams being super excessive and a lack of possible appreciation for things. He had a very, with Uranus there, this is, like I said, is your value system. He had a very different value system than most people. And like both of these houses, again, are retrograde in here. So again, that turns that energy inward again. And so it's all about him. But let me see, anything else you want to say about that one? Yes. You may have possessions that you value at one point in life, but this can change rather suddenly and you may have to start over. So that is the symbol for that. Right. In the first house, he has, this is Saturn. Like I said, the South Node. So this is what he came into this life knowing. This is a prenatal lunar eclipse. I'm not going to really, that's not really all that. So it's bordered here by these two eclipses. Eclipses technically are stuff that you want to eclipse out of your life, and being in his first house, I don't think he really liked himself very much, and he really wanted to eclipse his own self out of his own life. So Saturn represents, like I said, with Shanann, it represents the father. So he's very attached to his father. He has self-identity around his father. He really values and found his value system through his father.
That makes a lot of sense, you know, right? Since his father is basically the one that got that confession out of him.
Right.
Like just comfortable and he can be himself around him.
Totally. Well, let me see what I want to say about it. He may have.
Can I ask you really fast?
Of course.
How long does it take to create a full chart? Somebody's asking.
A second.
Like if you're pulling up this full chart, does it take a while or?
I can do it in like a second. I just have to have your birth date,
nice.
And your place.
Oh, okay. Sorry, continue.
Yeah. No, yeah. I don't necessarily need to have your time. I don't have NK and Shanann's time on the dot. I'm not gonna say that my sources are necessarily correct. So I can just look at planets, and I would just take out like the first and whatever. But yeah, technically it makes it a lot more accurate if you have the time. So let me know if anybody has questions because I can't see the chat or anything. Okay. Let's see. Saturn, we were talking Saturn in the first house. So he could have, again, he could be very shrewd, very secretive, have a power complex. He actually feared blending his life with another person, which Saturn right here is a lot also about responsibility, of you taking responsibility for your being in the first house for yourself in order to merge with another in the seventh house, because the first and seventh house are an axis. This is first house is I, seventh house is we. So that's why the seventh house is all about marriage and business partnerships and whatnot. But let's see, the South Node. So I want to talk about a South Node real quick. Let me go back to Saturn real quick, because this is a thing that came up in both him and NK's a lot, is becoming a student of the occult and finding a means to explore the dark realms of your own psyche. So considering some of the stuff that we're into, I just found that kind of weird. So on to the South Node. So with that South Node there, like I said, he needed to walk away from his identity and into a marriage and learn how to fully accept himself and take responsibility for himself so that he could be in that marriage or relationship. Let's see. They need to learn to make necessary sacrifices to have that relationship. But that placement is usually a placement of divorce, singleness, or separation. So even if he would have ended up with NK, he probably would have maybe not ended up married his whole life. So one of their unconscious motivations with that node in that first house is sex. So just so they know that. And they just need to learn, right? And they need to learn to be not be in codependent relationships, which has come up for him before in this chart. So
Robin has a question for you on the
Go for
screen.
it.
She says, if you pulled this chart 4 years ago on Chris Watts, would it shown kids or no? Or is it this always the same chart?
It's always the same chart. The natal chart
always
is always the same. Yeah. So the natal chart is a snapshot of the sky and the heavens when you were born. So that's why we need the time and like the place and whatever. Okay. Let's go to that 6th house. This is the house of health, daily habits. It can be what you do for work, not necessarily like the 10th house is career. The 6th house is more about what you do daily for work. So with all of this buildup of planets in the 6th house, he was very aware of his health. This is also Venus is in here, which is the planet of beauty, and that kind of stuff. So that explains why he was really stepped into taking care of himself. But he could that also.
Do you ever notice Tauruses kind of? Sorry for any Tauruses in here. Tauruses kind of go back and forth, like, and this is the truth. Like every Taurus I know, male or female, their weight usually fluctuates, and they always either take really good care of themselves or not. Would that be something you observe with the Taurus?
Yes, I am a Taurus, so yes.
Yes, there you go. See.
Yes. I'm actually a Taurus sun and a Taurus rising, so yes, I agree with you.
There you go. Yeah.
Totally. So, so he has his moon down there. So the moon is about your emotions. It's about kind of what is underneath surface. But with that moon in the 6th house, he perceived chaos in the world in both his inner like microcosm and the macrocosm. And then he never understood that both of those things. And I think for everybody out there, your macrocosm is a reflection of your self, is a reflection of the greater whole, and as is the greater whole a reflection of yourself. So he never really learned that, and so he just perceived it all as chaos. And that led him to be a little bit nervous and a little bit high-strung sometimes, oversensitive, especially in how he expressed himself emotionally. He needed to learn how to control his emotions a lot more, to be a lot more adaptable and mutable in that aspect. He needed to not act conceited. But with that placement in the 6th house, he was very likely to attract a loyal and loving partner, which he did.
Right.
Yes. Also in this house, like I said, we have Venus. This is Phallus, that's an asteroid, and then this is Mercury. So, like I said, the 6th house is the house of health, sickness, service to others, your daily stuff. But planets in this house can manifest as challenge to your health, challenge to your well-being, or if not challenges, and it's an indication that you need to be of service to others in some kind of like health way. Phallus, that asteroid right there, is likely to indicate some place where you've been wounded. He was killed by a poison arrow, so it's kind of like a death to like a former self. But unlike like Pluto is death to the former self, especially in this 12th house. But Phallus is more of like a clandestine, rapid change that's not necessarily conscious. And being it right next to that emotional moon, and then right next to, like I said, that's Mercury, quick thinking, communication, whatever. He might have not exactly been conscious. Like I said, he just wasn't conscious of what he was doing. He was very impulsive. And that placement too can lead to like some abrupt revelations in some kind of way. Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like it was just whatever. When I'm done, you'll see. I feel like it's just a ticking time.
Okay. I know if I was just to look at this, it'd be so complicated. So I'm glad you can like explain everything, because it's very, very, very interesting. Just even studying people's signs. And that's why I always ask people, or I'll try to guess, like, what's your sign? Because everybody, male and female, it's crazy how they have the same traits. It's weird.
It's so true. The other thing
just like all of us Geminis are freaking psycho.
Not all of you, but yeah. Well, you have two different sides, and you need to learn to reconcile that. But he has this Mars up here, and it's right there in his 8th house too, which is Mars can be anger. And the 8th house is sex, death, and other people's money. So whereas Pluto is like the end of the cycle, kind of death of rebirth of the person, like how can I explain? it's like when you become a parent, you have certain aspects of yourself have to die. The 8th house is actually like death. So having that Mars there, a planet of like anger and whatnot, in that house of death, like I don't know. I feel like that's an energy of like someone that could snap. But anyways, all right. Escape. How do I get out of this one now? There I go. Sorry, I don't know how to use computer. Oh my god. Okay, so let's go ahead. We'll move on to NK. So let me find.
Now we're moving on to NK's chart, everybody. Get out your torches.
Yeah, right. Let's go. Let's go find. No, I'm just kidding. This is so this is her relationship and the other relationship. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna do a brief like overview of this one because this is like she's got a lot going on.
Oh.
And actually, I'm gonna try and make this a little smaller. Hold on, guys. I just want to bring up the document because it's like.
Okay. And if you guys are just tuning in, this is Sarah without her channel. I keep posting her link in the chat. Her channel is Alchemy by Stars. She's doing the zodiac astrology charts of Shanann, Chris, NK, and then she's also going to get into the compatibility because it's just very, hey, High Priestess. And you're doing a fantastic job, by the way, Alchemy.
Oh, thank you. And you guys, Robbie,
and if you go to her channel, it's very interesting, guys.
Thank you. Listen, if they have questions, please tell me and stop me because I can't see anything. Can you guys see that?
Okay. Yeah, I could put it full screen too.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm going to close this one. Okay. Actually, let me move this over here. Okay. So this is NK's. Like I said, I don't have her exact birth time, so I didn't really take, like I said, I don't have a rising sign for her. And I'm not paying attention to these numbers that are in the middle here because I don't know what time she was born. So she has, this is her deal. So here, we'll just do hers around the clock here. Number one, this is the first house of self-identity. And guess what? It's empty. So.
Whoa.
Can't. I just had to say that. I just had to start that off. But okay. So.
NK, what's going on?
So up here, she has a huge concentration in the 9th house. So the 9th house is about travel. It's about inspiration. It's the house that's ruled by Sagittarius. So it's like taking everything you've gathered, all the information you've gathered, and shooting that bow and arrow for a higher goal or something like that. That's why it has to do with higher education, foreign travel, that kind of stuff. So she's got her point of fortune. She has Jupiter, which is expansive. The point of fortune, like I said, is like a point where you're supposed to have luck in your life. For Chris, that was in his 12th house of imprisonment. So then it's next to expansive Jupiter, Phallus, that asteroid that was supposed to be immortal but ended up getting killed by a poison arrow. Then she has Venus, she has Charlico, which is Chiron's wife, and then this is Mercury here. This is all in Gemini as well. So
can I pause and ask you a question that run the button? They said, what does it mean that her thing that you just said was empty? That's basically saying she doesn't have self-awareness, or what does that mean exactly?
Just because the house is empty, it doesn't mean that it's like, oh, but here's the deal. Okay. If it just means that it's lacking in energy. So because you can see too, like these lines here are the aspects that each thing makes. And so that each planet or astrological point makes. This right here is the ascendant. So this, when you're born, this is like where the sun is, what sign it's in. So that's why this is your exact time that you're born is right on this line. And so that's a special point. So there's nothing in this first house that's aspected. It's just that line. So it's just a lack of energy, a lack of knowing who she was, a lack of knowing, of having like a real direction, I guess you could say. Yeah. So let's see here. What was I gonna say? We were back up here. So she's got all this stuff up here in her 9th house, and then there's her point of fortune too. So she has she's generally not aware of her good fortune, and thereby she used it for herself undoing and for her own imprisonment. Jupiter making that more expansive in that area. Phallus, that's that clandestine energy of like, oh my God, something just happens and changes and it's just completely unexpected and out of the blue. I'm kind of confused about Venus being here. I mean, Venus is the planet of love. It's a planet of beauty. It's, you know, but it being right in the middle, I'm a little bit confused by that. I'll be honest. Charlico is Chiron, her soulmate, which is over here for her, which I find funny because it's about the same exact distance as Chris's was. So Charlico also Chiron got wounded, and that's why he's known as the wounded healer. Charlico, his wife, cared for him while he was wounded, thereby holding the space for Chiron to heal from his wounds. So Charlico is a very it's a very special energy. It's a feminine energy. It's Chiron's soulmate. It's holding that space for another to heal in some kind of way. Then we have Mercury, and then there's this then there's the sun and Chiron over here too. But I'll talk about that in a minute. Okay. So that whole little conjunction there, to me, I don't know. It just makes me feel like, you know, there was some type of clandestine event that was part of her fortune in life. It could have been something that made her very expansive, but it made her travel far in life because this is the 9th house. And again, the thing that I get with this is Venus, this is Mercury, and then this is Charlico, and this is Chiron. So you've got this like kind of balance, like Venus is feminine, Charlico is feminine, Mercury is male, Chiron is male. So there's like this weird masculine feminine thing going on there in that 9th house, which kind of tells me, right?
She's kind of a tomboy,
right?
You know?
And like trying to blend that and find the balance between the male side and the feminine side. Again, no judgment. Like we all have, you know, whatever. You know,
look at me. I've got some feminine up in men.
You know, and Shanann too. She was overly masculine as well. So I mean,
I could see that, like, you know,
right?
kind of taking the lead. You know,
totally.
Wearing the pants.
Yeah. Anyway, so then we have Chiron, this wounded healer here, and guess where it's at? In her 10th house of public recognition. Guess where her sun is, which is herself, right here in the 10th house of public recognition. So her wounds made her famous. Kind of crazy.
Is she prone to addiction? Bartwan is asking.
Is she prone
Would she be prone to addiction?
I would look at her. This is one of the things I want to talk about her chart because it's very weird.
Okay.
In the 4th house, like I would say in the 5th house, that's where you might find, especially if like Neptune was in the 5th house, because Neptune is like, you know, altered states of consciousness. 5th house is health. Or 6th house is health. And then if Neptune was in that 6th house, or I would say definitely. She does have that moon in the 6th house. It could be possible. Because the moon is also subconscious, unseen, things underneath the surface in the 6th house of health. So her emotional, we can talk about this real quick then. Her emotional well-being in the 6th house with the moon, which is then in direct opposition to Nessus, right here, the abuser. Is that not crazy?
Oh.
I can't get over it sometimes. So obviously in opposition, it's going to be like, oh, you got these two energies balancing back and forth. It's going to make you, who's going to win out? And so that was her choice in life. Anyway, so what were we talking about? We were talking about, so down here we have Nessus the abuser. This is a lunar eclipse. When did it happen? I'm not going to count that because that was a while ago before she was born. And then we have our South Node in Virgo. So people with a South Node in Virgo is very into daily habits, being kind of, no offense to any Virgos out there. I have a Virgo.
OCD.
Yeah, totally
OCD. Big time. Yeah. I know Virgo like the back of my hand.
Yeah. Has to be in control, right? So they come into this life knowing how to be in control, maybe knowing how to manipulate situations so that they can be in control.
Yes.
So that's what she came into this life with, and what she needed to learn with this North Node in this 6th house over here. She needed to learn to be the total opposite of that, because this is also Pisces for her. So it's So it makes, she needed to be let go of the control and be a little bit more spiritual in her life, which if you listen to the stories, I feel like she went a little bit dark magic, which is not the route that she was obviously supposed to go with that. But again, with this Nessus conjunct what she came into this life with of being like that control mechanism, I don't know. I don't know. I think that speaks volumes of her and who she is.
So some people are asking, so what does that mean as far as the abuser part with NK? Can you explain, like, does that mean she deals with an abuser, or? So
Nessus here, I'll bring this up right here. So Nessus, you guys can read this if you want to. But it's a centaur asteroid, and what he did is this is a terrible story, but he took Hercules' bride, Dianara, across the river. He was supposed to take her and protect her, and instead he R-worded her, or tried to R-word her, and him and Hercules obviously got into it. And so Nessus is kind of like that person that comes along and does you dirty. I mean, you know, you're not supposed to do that. So right down here, it says, when it's strongly placed, it can symbolize a difficult transition between decisions and responsibility that may lead to death or violent change. An element of revenge may be present. His position by house and sign, by planetary connection, is likely to indicate where we may need to understand more of our dark side and where old wounds can come up for healing and renewal. So, interesting. But anyways, is there any more questions about? So in that aspect, the fact that he took her across the river, some astrologers will consider Nessus an abuser because he abused his power. He wasn't supposed to try to R-word his buddy's new bride. So that's where that comes in. Also having that be in her, you know, okay. So yeah, that's that aspect. She has Pluto and Scorpio, just like Shanann and Chris do. That gives you, I mean, Pluto is at home in Scorpio. It's very like death, rebirth, going deep underneath the surface or needing to. The fact that it's RX means that it was a little bit more inward with her. Or it should have been a little bit more inward with her. Down here, okay, she was born with Saturn conjunct Uranus at 28 degrees. So a lot of astrologers will use Sabian symbols to kind of, especially if you don't have the ascendant and the time of birth, you can use the Sabian symbols to kind of get a little bit of a better idea about someone. And this is kind of prominent in her chart at that 28 degrees right here. And you can see over here, 28 degrees Sagittarius. They're pretty much right on top of each other, and they're retrograde, bringing that energy inwards. They're also next to Neptune. Because okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. So so having that degree is a symbol that the mind of a cultured mind, yet one that is possessed of considerable moral force and remarkable physical energy and agility. Such one may easily lose his way and come to an unfortunate end because of his strong sense of direct and honest course in life and his extreme difference in asserting that sense of conviction. He will be in danger of some brain affection, which may lay him low and render him incapable of action for many years together. Where has she been? There is a twist of some sort in the nature, some sort of twist in her nature. Anyways, he may be driven to extremities by force of circumstances. It's a degree of inefficacy. And so with this is the planet of change, of earthquake breaking, groundbreaking change. This is the planet, Saturn, of being super responsible. So she needed to be responsible in this energy and break away from it in some kind of way. And that's part of her thing in life, is to be responsible for who she is, especially where she comes from, being in the fourth, and then just being responsible. And if you need to break ground in order to do that, then that's okay. So. Yeah. Okay. Let me make sure there's nothing else I want to talk about with her. I mean, there's a lot with her. She's her aspects. She had the tendency to be very manipulative, very into herself. Yeah. So.
in my experience with cancers, whether they're male or female, is one thing I noticed with every Cancer, because again, I go by like my experience. One thing I noticed with every zodiac sign that's a Cancer is they're very emotional, but like if they get mad or angry at you or annoyed or whatever, they'll never tell you. Like they'll play the quiet game and make you guess and stuff, and it's like, just say what's wrong,
right?
you know?
Yeah, because they're that crab energy. They'd rather hide in their little dark hole than sometimes deal with things and face things, I guess.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Okay. So let's go ahead and look at, oh my gosh, it's almost been an hour already. Jeez. So sorry. Once I get talking, like, oh boy. Okay, so we're gonna look at NK and Shanann first because that's super short, super simple.
Okay.
Let me close out of this one, and then I'm gonna make this one big and interpretation.
I love you, Nikki Rex, my little Virgo friend.
Aww. We'll do this one.
And you guys, if you're just tuning in again, this is Sarah. Her channel name is Alchemy by Stars. If you go over and check out her channel, I keep posting the link. She does really like cool stuff on each zodiac sign and stuff over on her videos. So check her out. She's awesome. Robbie. And we need to go get coffee sometime because we're really close to each other.
We do. I know. We should do it in the next 3 weeks before school gets out because.
There you go. Yeah.
Anyways, okay. So this is a report. So this is a report. If you go to my website, I can do this as long as you have your other person's date, birth time, and place. I can do this for you. Did you put up the special that I had with the coupon or the offer codes and whatever?
Yeah, I was gonna wait till you talked about it so I could drop it in the chat.
Okay, we'll do that later then. Okay.
Okay.
So this is a buy wheel. So if you do get that report, you might get something that looks like this. I know it's like, what in the hell is that? That's what I'm here for. So more or less, it takes these two people's charts. We have NK and we have Shanann, and it puts them together and makes like a composite chart. So this would have been the typical mother of the children, stepmother relationship that in the beginning was really rough and really hard to deal with because you had two, I don't want to say alpha females. Yeah.
Is this Shanann, right? Shanann you're talking about?
Shanann and NK, yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Two women coming together to kind of meld a family, and it probably wouldn't have gone over so well in the beginning. But they definitely would have had a lot to learn from each other, and it would have been one of their greatest areas of growth if they would have learned how to deal with each other. Let's close out of that one. If I open, so now we'll look at Shanann, and we'll look at Chris.
While you're doing that, I'm putting all the discount. I put her website, guys, in, and if you want to get your chart done and stuff, there's some special codes I'm going to be putting in the description of this video right now.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Okay, so this is Shanann and Chris. Again, it's like you wouldn't know how to look at this, so I'll just go ahead and start telling you guys.
So this is their compatibility, right?
Yeah, this is their compatibility comparison bi-wheel deal. Shanann is in the inner wheel, and then like it says over here, Chris is on the outer wheel. So this is the inner, and then that one bigger one's the outer. The sole dispositor, so that's kind of like who's in charge of the chart. In this chart, it was that Pluto and Scorpio, which, like I said, all of them have this, Pluto and Scorpio. It gives kind of like, there's something with this generation that has Pluto and Scorpio where they need to learn about boundaries. They need, especially in regards to romantic involvement. I forget when. So Shanann was born in 84, and I believe NK was born in 88. So anybody born in that time period probably has the same thing. You do have the same thing, not probably, because that's where the damn planet was. So anyways, having, you might be very single-minded in pursuing your goals. Your relationships depend on your ability to pay attention not only to you and to yourself, and really finding that ability to personally transform themselves. So like I said, they can make a greater whole, like taking the two people and making a greater whole. So that was something for that generation to really, probably our generation too, but anyways, let's see. They may have exhibited a tendency to manipulate each other, but they really needed to learn how to use that manipulation to kind of regenerate their own lives. Let's see. They had a yod with the focal planet of Mars. A yod is like, I can't find it in this mess, but a yod is a triangle and it points to somewhere. And so the focal planet they have two yods. Focal planet of Mars, which is the planet of anger and aggression. And then the other focal planet was Chiron, which is the wounded healer. So something very focal about their relationship was a wound in their relationship had to do with anger and aggression and those kind of issues. They could have had some reckless behavior at times and might have leapt before looking every once in a while. And I think that's probably true with what we hear about the finances, maybe just spending and being a little bit excessive in that way, not really thinking about it first. They had those high ideals. And I think I said this on the last panel where they really had the opportunity to do something for leadership, maybe in an area of health or trying to do something for the greater good. And if they would have done that, they probably would have been one of those amazing rock star couples. Unfortunately, that's not what happened, but let's see. I know. So they had a composite Jupiter and Capricorn. So that gave them both a talent for working together and working with the public together. They saw growth and opportunity generally as the result of hard work and dedication, which you definitely could see that was Shanann. You hear my kids screaming?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Tradition was a big part of their thing with that composite Jupiter and Capricorn. Jupiter and Capricorn, that's all about tradition. So let's see. They had composite sun in Pisces, meaning that they were easily influenced by everything around them. And what I find with these composite charts is I always feel like there's always one partner that exhibits these characteristics more than the other. And it's really the other partner's job in the relationship to accept these other parts and figure out how to work with them, if that makes sense. So knowing that they were very prone to dreamy, full of imagination, prone to fantasy. I think we know who that was.
So these charts are kind of basically, because I don't know about you, but I loved Sylvia Browne and I loved reading her books.
Oh my God. I died for her.
And I've always believed, like having a relationship with Christ and everything, like not everything is perfect. And oftentimes, people ask, if God loves me, why does he allow this stuff to happen to children, or why this or why that? And it's like, I truly believe, and Sylvia Browne talks about, basically, if you guys don't understand it, it's kind of like before you come down to earth, because I believe in like reincarnation and learning and coming here to learn, and that heaven is full of knowledge. So when we come down here, I do believe that we map out, or if you guys want to call it a blueprint or whatever, we chart out the things that we want to experience and to go through, and how we learn that kind of stuff. So when sometimes in tragedy, when we don't understand certain things, a lot of times people are like, well, you love God. Why does he allow this to happen to me or this? And it's kind of like, I believe that we plan that first. That's just kind of like what you were saying.
Yeah. And if you're going to ask the universe or God for something, you better be ready for it to get served up to you in the way that. Exactly.
Don't ever pray for patience. I prayed for patience one time. Then I became a bus driver. I'm like, oh my God, what's going on?
That's good. That's terrible. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Did you need to turn off the share screen, right?
I did. Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Because that wheel is so annoying. I don't like that wheel.
So as far as the compatibility, what do you think overall does it kind of show that Chris is more compatible with NK, or is it like with nobody?
He probably, like I said, in his natal chart, and like I think I said last time too, like I just don't feel like the way his chart was set up, like he should have ever been married. Like there was that aspect in his chart, I forget which one, that he was destined to be divorced, separated, or not in union in some kind of way. So I think even if he would have ended up with NK, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that he may have had some wounding in his childhood in regards to mother that attracted him to these kind of women that were kind of headstrong, I guess. And there's nothing like wrong with that, obviously. It's just like we have said, it's just what you come into this life with. But he was way more compatible with NK. So let's talk about that. So more or less, this relationship with NK was like a clandestine thing. It was they really kind of saw each other, and like that was it. To be honest with you, with the way their charts are set up as well, they were kind of. I feel like their relationship as well was like written in the stars in a weird kind of way. Because yeah,
I've always said too, because for women or anybody that always says, "Oh, Chris is so ugly," I beg to differ. Chris is extremely attractive. What he was prosecuted for or whatever, that's not attractive, obviously.
Right.
But in my personal opinion, I think from him going from what he used to look like to what he looked like when he got arrested, being a man myself, I know that once you get in shape and all that kind of stuff, you become more sexual anyways. You got eyes looking at you. So that opens a door right there if you don't have self-control to cheat and to be a slut. Thank you, Lan.
He didn't have, because he didn't have that ability in his first house to like know how to reconcile that with himself.
Yeah, and being kind of like a meek personality that he had, I think that he more so was... he kind of felt more power through his looks, because let's be honest, when we feel confident about ourselves and the way we look, we feel like we could run whatever we want to and kind of do whatever we want.
I agree.
I mean, I know, because I am so hot. Just kidding. But you know what I mean. When you have a good day, you keep your head held high. When you feel like you look good, you're just more confident,
Oh my God, yeah. No, totally.
Hey, Natasha.
Oh, hi, Natasha. So let's see here. They had a composite moon in Aries, giving that very passionate, very aggressive, new beginnings, fun, fireworks type of relationship that he was probably looking for. So very idealistic. What else can I say about their relationship? I saw
sexual.
A lot of stuff, about being sexual and that whole occult thing. Like I'm telling you.
Yeah.
The ability to
I just think it's like lust. No matter what sign or belief you have, lust, even if you're single, will ruin your life. I mean, I always talk about openly how I've got syphilis before, gonorrhea, all of it, except for the deadly ones. And even though I was single, it was, lust is not a good thing. And a lot of people will say, "Oh, you're going to hell for this." No, God creates consequence. So we learn from it so we could enjoy our life. And there was major lust in this situation. Big time.
I agree. Oh my God. Yeah. Like I said, it's like they saw each other and it was like fireworks. Whoa. Very unpredictable type of energy sometimes. But through their, relationship, they were supposed to have deal with those painful realizations and the important issues that they needed to, and he would have been much better able to do that with NK as opposed to Shanann. I don't want to I want to be respectful, but I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah. Well, and no, and you guys, this is for entertainment purposes only, and this is very interesting. But it's just interesting seeing personality traits, because everybody, I'm not a fan of body language experts. I kind of find it bullshit at times, but people study the body language or the spirituality, and it's interesting to see kind of what the stars had aligned for the situation,
Yeah. And I agree that NK and CW were definitely more astrologically clandestine to do what they did. No, kind of.
Yes.
But there were emotional conditions that really influenced each other. Well, this composite moon with the Saturn thing.
By Octavia.
Made them hi. It made them both like want to encourage each other. But it also again made them deal with. I think they both had maybe a strict upbringing that they needed to reconcile with each other. A lot of the things that I'll just okay. I want to be respectful. A lot of the things that came up in NK's chart that I didn't really talk about so much was the fact that she had a lot of wounding with her father. I know I said that about Shanann, but it came up like once in Shanann's chart, whereas with NK, it came up a lot. So I don't know. It came in. It came up where she was either overparented or underparented. Like, like when you're a teenager and you need your freaking parents to like show you what the hell's up. I don't think she had anybody to show her.
Oh, okay.
And I believe that her parents were divorced at that point, and so I don't think maybe they were lost in their own world as what happens sometimes. And I think she just got lost in the rigmarole of whatever, unfortunately.
Right.
And that caused a lot of wounding for her because she didn't have direction on what to do or how to move through life at that time when you need your parents, But I just feel like what I see in the astrology for her and Chris was that it was very clandestine. It was very sexual. There was a lot of power drive. They really had, their main issue was, like I said, with the childhood wounding, boundary issues, but they really would have had the ability to not, the subject of codependence comes up in CW and Shanann's chart, but not in NK and Chris's chart. So
do you think even though I believe everything happens for a reason, blueprinted, whatever, do you think that NK and Chris could have, if it didn't end the way it did, do you think they would have had a successful marriage, even a relationship? Or is it kind of not even written in the stars at all?
Right. No, that's what I think. I think they would have had a good relationship together. I think that the thing with Chris is like I said, I don't know that he was supposed to be married at all. And so I don't know that his relationship with NK would have lasted either. I don't know how much of an influence his family of origin would have had over that that one after the first one ended. So I mean, yeah, because I'm kind of the belief that the dynamic with the in-laws didn't help the situation. So
that's kind of how I feel where I'm at in my life right now. All of my younger years, when I came out of the closet, welcome, Natasha. When I came out of the closet, I kind of felt like I needed to have a soulmate, or you know what I mean? And the older I grew, because I'm going to be 39 this month. The older I am now, I know, in my heart, everybody keeps saying, oh, you're going to meet someone. And I'm like, but I'm at the point where I don't think I ever want to meet anybody romantically ever again, because my life is so happy in other ways. So it'd be interesting sometime for you to do my chart to see, for us to go in detail over it. Because didn't you send me something on my chart a while ago?
I don't know.
I think you did.
Just anytime.
It was months and months ago.
We got to go out.
Yes. And you guys, I put her, I put her website in the description, and I just added codes for your full chart reading and stuff like that. But somebody was asking, it was a little bit further up. I just didn't want to keep interrupting you with questions, but I didn't want to forget them. Somebody was asking, so what you need basically is just your birth hour, time, and all that. That's what creates the chart.
Mm-hmm. So I need your place, because we need the coordinates, because where you're at on the planet depends on certain degree where degrees are, I guess. So can you see this? Do you see those lines, those numbers? And then you see the line after it, the one with the circles, you see there's that one right there. 1 degree Aries. There we are. 1 degree, excuse my massage therapy hands. 1 degree Aries, 47 minutes, and that R means retrograde, and that's Chiron. So knowing your birth time and your place gives an exact pinpoint. But if you don't, then you don't. It's not as exact.
It's so interesting because you have the chart thing, and just looking, because my dad is a Taurus, much like Chris, and my dad you know, people say, oh, Chris wasn't emotional enough for this. But my dad is, first of all, he's one of the most funny people I've ever met in my life, but he's also he gets along with everybody. He wants to be friends with everyone. He's very laid back and soft spoken and stuff. But then if you really got to push him to the point of anger for him to snap. And I've barely seen my dad ever snap, pretty much ever. So when I look at Chris, that a lot of times I put that astrological thing into play. And then I know many Capricorns can be very emotional, the ones that I've experienced in my life. And when they get in a relationship, they're all about that. You know, that's like the main thing that their life revolves around is their romantic relationships, a Capricorn.
I agree.
And a Cancer, you just don't know. You never know what that
means. They're so emotional and unpredictable. No, I have my son is a Capricorn. I agree 100%. He's very much like that. And I'm a Taurus, and I can we look very calm and serene on the surface, but underneath it's like and I have to say,
I'm a Gemini.
Yeah.
1 second I'll be smiling at you. The next second I could be like, get the fuck out of my face, you motherfucker.
I see
it just depends.
I know. It's okay.
See, but Geminis have a bad reputation. We have a bad reputation for, everyone says, oh my God, you're two-faced. But in my opinion, like Gemini, you know, we're the sign of like communication. We love all forms of communicating, the telephone, the internet, all this stuff. So if you're in a certain mood, it's not that I have to be fake. I adjust my mood so I know how to communicate with you, or I adjust my way of speaking or whatever. You know, does that make sense to you?
Exactly.
You know.
Because you can judge the room better than anybody, because that's what Geminis do. They know how to communicate, not just like talking, but like before you walk into a room, they know.
I'm very quiet if you first meet me in person, and it's not because I'm doing anything shady. I'm reading you. I'm like watching the way you talk and the things you talk about, because I want to be respectful too. Unless I'm mad, I don't care if I'm respecting you, but I want to be respectful and get to know your interests and what, you know.
Yeah. That's Gemini. You're studying the communication and the energy of it all. I know I saw Daniel up here said he's going to be 40 soon. I'm going to be 40 in 10 days.
Oh, I'm right behind you. I'm going to be 39, and then 40 is right behind you. Thank you, Mexi.
So exciting. So
do you guys have any questions for her? I got to wrap up here in about 10 minutes or so, or 20, because I got to go do court on Lana's channel. Yeah, but did you? It's gonna be fun. It's role play. It's a mock trial. But did you have anything to add too? Like,
we're gonna go over the event chart in like 2 minutes. You ready for this, you guys?
Okay.
This is like what? Okay, this is the event chart. I am not gonna bring this up because it's annoying. So maybe I should. I gotta bring it up. I can't not bring it up. You have 10 minutes. You have 10 minutes?
Yeah, we have about 10. Yep.
Okay. Let me get this one out. I already have it. Don't save.
They're saying happy birthday in advance to you.
Oh,
happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Might go to Stanley. You want to come?
You're going to the Stanley for your birthday?
I might. We might. We haven't decided yet.
I'm going to Kansas for my birthday.
Oh. We'll have...
See, I work on the weekends, but everybody keeps saying, oh, the Stanley, go there. It's so scary. It's one of the most peaceful hotels I've ever been to.
I agree. The little bar there on the side. Oh my gosh. It's like one of my favorite places in the whole world. I love that.
You definitely feel spirits there though. Like there's definitely, but it's like good.
So we stayed there one time, and we stayed in the room with the kids, and we went out to dinner, and the mirror was clean. We came back. We didn't have kids at the time. There were baby handprints all over the freaking mirror. Like, thanks, Mama Jane.
Were you on the 4th floor by any chance? Because I stayed on the 4th floor, and that's where used to be where kids would. Yes, that used to be where kids would sleep because it was the attic, and where Lord Dunraven's room was.
Yeah, that's the floor. All right, let me share this real quick and get this. Share screen. Share screen. Share this one. Okay, and then open this up and make it big.
Put up.
Tell me when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, so this is the event chart, 8/13/18. This is when Shanann came in the door at 1:48 a.m. We have a Gemini rising. So when you're looking at criminal astrology, you want to look at the ascendant is the victim. So this is Shanann. The descendant is Chris, the perpetrator. And guess who's here? Here's Follis, the clandestine, boom, life-changing event happening. But let's take this, right? This is the ruler of Gemini is Mercury. So you're going to look for the ruler of Mercury. So you're going to look for Mercury, which is going to equal the victim, Shanann. She's down here. This is Mercury. This is the third house. Mm-hmm. The third house equals neighborhood, community. Yeah. The other thing I want to tell you is that on this particular day, this Mercury and then Uranus up here were both stationary. That never happens. That's like a very odd thing to happen for both of those planets to go stationary on the same day. Because this Mercury was stationary and it was Shanann, and this is the house of the neighborhood. And this right here, this line right here on the fourth house cusp is the fourth house is the home. She is stationary here and barely gets to the front. She gets to the front door of her home, and she doesn't make it much further than that.
Oh.
More than likely, because of where this falls, there was probably an argument at the front door, but he definitely probably met her right at that front door, and there was a confrontation. The footage shows her coming. I feel like it shows her coming into the house happy, like she wants to fix this. You know, she knows what's going on. She wants to fix it. But he met her on the other side of the door, and he was ready to go for it. For realsies. This house of home, this moon, there's an asteroid. I don't know why it's not showing up. That's right here. That Ceres, the mother. So the moon and the mother are right here. This is the girls. Bella, to me, is the moon. And this is based off astrology. If you guys go to Christ, Krist, the astrologer, she does like a whole video on this. She also does Jennifer Kesse. She's done Suzanne Morphew. I mean, this stuff works. And I think eventually this is what I want to do. So the girls are down here in this fourth house, like I said, of home, of family, and all of that. And unfortunately, they're in opposition to Uranus. When you look at criminal astrology, Uranus is water. Uranus also, represents oil. It's right next to Nessus.
Oil?
Yeah.
Wait. Hold on a minute. As in the oil tanks?
Yes. Nessus is water, watery substances such as oil. Yes. This is in the 10th house of public recognition and career, right next to Nessus, the abuser. This is why this is like hard.
Right.
You know, that just like to me is that's so telling of like, unfortunately, what happened to these poor children. The ruler right here, this is Sagittarius, the descendant is Chris. This is ruler is Jupiter. So this is Chris down here in that the 6th house of health. Because of where this is, this could have indicate that he could have drank something or been under the influence of a substance. I watched the live that Mexi was on a couple weeks ago on Alex's channel. And I think you guys were talking about like the brew that NK made. Like I wouldn't put it past that to be
like a kind of
like some type of herb, some black magic stuff that maybe put him in a different way. The other thing I want to point out is this house, there's so much going on in this house of communication. There was some communication going on, aka maybe I can come back and we can do the 111-minute phone call, because that's another one where you're like, oh shit.
Absolutely. I'd love to do this again.
Yeah, and we can do other cases. You know, let the audience let us know what case is, and you know, let's learn together and do it together, because it's really cool stuff.
Absolutely.
But anyway, so the other thing is that a lot of murders happen at 25 degrees here, and 25 degrees, like I said, is the Sabian symbol for that is a person who's stubborn, willfully, easily persuaded of the merits or rights of others, litigious and quarrelsome, a few sympathies, jealous and revengeful, many dangers, and perhaps death by a man.
Whoa.
Is it not nuts? Like, you can't freaking make this shit up. Like, this is in texts and books. This is the way ancient archetypes work with astrology and with modern day life.
Yeah.
On the other side, it's also a degree of imitation. Being gifted with powers of dramatic representation, and few will really know the perpetrator for who he really is. Also, there was a solar eclipse 2 days before this. Eclipses happen when you need to eclipse things out of your life. So that's also a little bit of an ominous thing. The other thing I will talk about really quickly, and then we can wrap it up. This 8th house has Pluto, so there's the planet of death in the house of death. Mars is here at 29 degrees. Again, this is 29 degrees is the karmic degree. This is the degree it would be before it changes into the sign of Aquarius, from Capricorn to Aquarius. And so when a planet is at 29 degrees, it's unhealthy. It's not okay. It's having all of its karma catch up to it. And this is the planet of anger and aggression in the 8th house of death. In this chart, when I'm now that I'm starting to read these criminal event charts, this Charlico to me sometimes represents the other woman. Also in the 8th house of death. I'm trying to figure out more so how Charlico, that the energy works in criminal charts. So I'm not going to quote that, but it's starting to start feeling like stepmother energy or something like that. The last thing we're going to talk about, is this point of fortune here. Again, it's at 28 degrees, 49 minutes. When this thing gets to 59 minutes, which would be maybe another few hours, a few days maybe, it would be at that anaretic 20. So this is close enough to 29 degrees. Again, it's a karmic degree. Things are catching up to it. It's unhealthy, but this is the point of fortune. And look where else it is. It's right where Chris's is, in the 12th house of imprisonment, self-undoing, like the end of the matter.
Wow.
And so that's just a quick synopsis of like this event chart. It's crazy.
That's insane. Like it's so like you can't just make it look like that the way it's lined up. It's like so accurate compared to what was going on. Somebody said they'd be interested in the Jodi Arias chart.
Yeah.
If you did that one.
We could do another one, and I'll come on and maybe we could do a little bit deeper on this one, and we could do Jodi, and you guys pick 2 other ones or 1 other one or whatever you want.
Well, it's crazy because, the way our bodies and our lives go, a lot of people, whether you have faith or not, a lot of times we feel lost, especially when bad stuff happens like this. I think it's important to keep in mind that life is full of knowledge and learning. And no matter what pain we go through or whatever we're feeling, it's kind of weird to look at charts and think, we mapped this out for ourselves. I truly do believe that.
I do. 100%. For sure, Zee. Yeah.
Well, did you want to add anything else or like a summary of basically with the chart, like how everything happened? Did you want to summarize everything for the people that were just coming in?
Yeah, why not? So more or less, Shanann, her birth chart is basically who she was. Yeah, she might have had a power complex and people might have said she was bossy, but she really was a balance and did things. She was coming to terms with her shadow side and really starting to heal that for herself. I think if her marriage would have ended, it would have forced her hand in really becoming a whole human being. Let's see. Chris Watts. Did I talk about Algol? Oh, crap. I didn't even talk about that. I did a little bit. He's the one that's known with serial killers. That's on his ascendant, which is your identity. And that's with his son, which is your identity. So that really, Algol is when it's conjunct your son, that's like a serial killer. And technically, by definition, he is a serial killer. Nicole Kessinger had some daddy issues. That kind of she needed to confront and face, and the relationship with Chris probably would have forced her to do that. But that's just not how it ended. Altogether, the relationships, Shanann and Chris probably shouldn't have been married. I feel like NK and him had a clandestine something to do together. Unfortunately, I feel like this was all written in the stars, and it may have been this event. I think I wrote you an email where I felt like it's like NK had to have something fucking horrible happen in her life in order to force her to change. I don't give a doubt if we come back and we talk about that 111-minute phone call. That was some manipulation going on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that would be very interesting to see. And basically, you would do an event on that phone call, right?
Yeah.
Ooh, that would be very, very interesting.
That, and you just, look at from a criminology perspective.
See, and like I said, just by studying people, it's interesting enough, you guys. Like, if you don't believe in astrology, nobody's forcing it on you. Again, we're doing this for information and entertainment purposes. But like for homework, I kid you not, guys, and I tell people this all the time. When you meet people or you know people who are the same signs, like pay attention, because it's crazy how the world works like that. It's just, it's nuts.
It is. It is.
And God is very creative. Yeah, the Bible does say, look to the sky for signs. And I mean, that's kind of what you just showed us.
Yes.
That's exactly what you showed us. So before we go, I keep putting your link in, but tell people, like, if they go over to your channel, kind of give them like what to expect over on your channel.
So more or less, I just do readings. I use Kim Cran's archetypes. I use sorry, my people are texting me. And then I use Accurate AF Tarot. That's another thing we should do. Do you know anybody that does criminal tarology, tarot? Maybe we should start doing that one of these. We should do the astro charts and then.
Okay.
So anyways, I think my children are coming in here. So anyways, I kind of sort of follow the moon and do readings based off of that, like new moon and full moon. Every once in a while I'll do something different or post something if like a big astrological transit is happening. Other than that, go to my website if you want to look at your astrology. I do video, or I can do a live call. I have reports on there that you can buy if you'd like to.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then the coupon code and all that stuff is somewhere.
Yeah, I put that in the description, guys. So what I did, I just put her channel link again. Thank you, everybody that's been going over there. Her channel link's in there.
Sarah@alchemybystars.com.
Okay. I think, let me see. I think that one, yes, that your email, her website, her Instagram, her channel, and then all of the codes.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
No Facebook.
So thank you so much. This was so interesting. And let's come on again and we'll do that. We'll do the 111-minute phone call next.
For sure.
And then I saw a bunch of people requesting other serial killers as well.
I love that guy. Oh yeah. I see somebody says Aphrodite. I love that man. He's so cool. But
isn't that like the cute guy that comes on YouTube, right? Oh, yes, he is cute.
Go watch his NK video. His NK video is whoa.
Yeah, he's very interesting. I've watched a few of his videos. All right, well, thank you. I'm going to wrap it up and send everybody over Lana's way. If you guys are going over to Lana's channel, I'm not sure.
Can you tell me what role you're playing?
She cast me as the judge.
That's right. That's what I heard.
It's going to be fun. You know, lots of people are kind of like, what's going on? Why is she doing this? It's just a mock trial and it'll be interesting.
We're all adults. Have some fun. We might as well have some fun in this community.
Exactly. Yeah. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for coming on. And
thank you guys.
Yeah. Let me know.
I'll text you later.
Everybody. Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. We ended perfect timing. Lana starts at 7:30. So I'm going to, let me see. Yeah, thank you. Thank you again to Sarah for coming on. Please come back. Yeah, see, Alchemy, if you're still watching, they're saying come back soon. Yeah, we'll go over that 111-minute call. So again, I put her channel link in there. And truth and transparency. Okay, so here is the live stream over on Lana's. If you guys are going to go over to the mock trial, we will raid Lana. So I'm just going to type in mock trial, and there is the link for that, guys. But thank you for tuning in. Thanks again to Alchemy for coming on. And let's see. Yeah, thank you guys for that. That went at first, if you're looking at it, it gets very confusing. You're like, oh my God. But when she explains it, it's all very interesting. Bye, Wendy. Oh, you fell asleep, Brittany. It's okay. Ooh, you get the guy under the bench siren. How about the guy under the robe? Sharon Tate would be very interesting. That would be really, really interesting. All right, guys. I'll see you over on Lana's channel as the judge. Have a good one. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Chance.